Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday. I just had two of the most beautiful connection calls with clients this afternoon. And as soon as I got off, I knew I needed to do a Facebook Live to speak about this. So, something that's really coming through strong, which, if you've been hanging out in my field for a hot minute, you know that this is what I've been talking about a lot lately, is that in the spiritual community, we have so heavily associated and identified ourselves with all of these really awesome, super fun, playful healing modalities. All these different energetic beings that we're calling into our field to work through us, to work with us. And what happens is we really can lose ourselves in that. And we can also really lose the potency of our medicine in all of that. It's not to say those things are bad. That's not at all what I'm saying. Those things are really fun to play with. They're really fun to navigate and to heal with, to explore with, to play with. However, the most purest frequency that we can offer our clients, the most purest frequency that we can offer to the world is our pure soul frequency, which is an extension of God, which is an extension of our divine spark. So if I say the word God and that kind of triggers you and you are working in the spiritual community, probably deeply embedded in your subconscious mind and your unconscious field is this illusion of separation from God. And that is that's okay. That's okay. We picked that up along the way of our priestess lives, our witch lives, where we were literally burned at stake. For those of us that were raised within, the religion, there's a lot of God trauma, right? And so for a lot of spiritual people, we will use other words to associate with God, such as source, such as divine, the universe, spirit, so forth. But what happens is we're actually denying ourselves that deep, deep, deep unification with God, with pure source energy. And we often don't even know that we're doing it. That's the thing. We don't even know that we're doing it. And once we uncover that we have this crack in our consciousness, this illusion of separation, then we unify with what was already there. That illusion dissolves and we become that emanation of that pure source energy, of that God frequency. And when we work in the God field, when we create and serve from the God field, that purest 12th dimensional frequency, that is the most potent energy for us to be working with and the most potent energy for us to be bringing into our client sessions. So I've been noticing a pattern, not a pattern, but of the people that have already stepped into Soul Series, this 6-week group immersion that is starting this upcoming week. We only have 2 more days to register. Every single one of them is a light worker. Every single one of them has been trained in multiple different modalities or has just heavily navigated the spiritual realm, but they know that there's something that is being asked to shift in them, in their work. They're being called up into a next level of service, and they're needing support in that because it can be really, really scary to all of a sudden feel like the tools and the medicine. Hi, Amanda. Hello. It can be really scary to all of a sudden feel like the tools and the medicine that you have been working with in the past are no longer feeling good. And so Soul Series is basically calling you up into that God field, up into embodying and being the emanation of that God frequency, so that the energy that you're giving out is the purest, most unfiltered, most potent energy. So Soul Series is going to help you into that next shift to basically learn how to learn how to be in this beautiful co-creative dance with God, with Spirit, so that you start your day already connected to that. You don't have to go through all of these fancy tools and all of our, spiritual morning routines that just kind of burn us the fuck out after a certain point of time. You wake up already connected. You wake up already embodying your higher self, already as your higher self. There's no longer this separation going on. You are her. You are operating as her, and you're emanating out that frequency, that God frequency, so that you just don't need any of that other stuff. You don't need all of those other fancy modalities and light shows and any of that, because you just are the frequency. And so when a client steps into your realm, into your container, they already are getting activated the fuck, because you are holding that frequency. It is a shift into a new dimension. This is a shift into, Amanda says, I was just talking to a woman in my community about her old tool is not working. Yes, we are being called up into a totally new level of service, and it's way simpler than what we've been offering in the past. We don't need all these fancy light shows and accolades and spiritual Olympic escapades that we have so heavily identified with and had fun with in the past. We don't need that. That's not the shift. That's not where the world is going. The collective is waking up, but their waking up to their spiritual and soul selves is going to look much different than what most of the spiritual community have experienced and been playing with. And it's just going to look totally different. They're not going to want to sit in goddess circles and moon circles and do all these fancy ceremonies to do their healing. They're just not going to want to do that. That doesn't vibe with them. That's just not what the collective is needing. What the collective is needing is healers that are actually relatable, healers that are the emanation, that are like that embodiment of that God frequency, that them just stepping into that healer's field is going to activate them and like work through and heal whatever they got going on. It's just going to be like a conversation and an exchange rather than all these fancy like tools and modalities. It's simplifying. But to get to that point of holding that frequency, to be the full embodiment of your higher self, to hold that God frequency and play and work and serve in that God field, you do need support to get to that level, because there is a huge dissolving and refinement that takes place in our energy field to prepare us for that. I went through it in January. I thought that I was going to die. Like every time, oh God, January was a month. All right. Like every time I did a healing ceremony on myself, I would end up in a full on fevered state where my body was shaking with chills. I was sweating for like 6 to 8 hours. And then the next day I would wake up feeling fine, other than I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck. And that was because like my energy field was purifying. Any of like the energies that I was holding on to that were no longer in alignment with that God frequency, that God field, were rapidly purging out of me. I think I had something like 7 fevers over the course of January. It was nuts. But in all of that, there was like this huge refinement that was taking place, and a lot of the modalities and spiritual tools and teachings that I had heavily identified with in the past just no longer was landing with me, and it was really, really freaky. It was really freaky for me. Without support, I would still be looping in that. So Soul Series is going to help you get to that. Amanda, yes, it was no longer in alignment. Doesn't mean that it didn't serve, and it was in alignment at one point in time, but not with where you're going. So I deeply honor you with that transition that you're in. January was a big month, and we're really seeing it now in the spiritual community. Like, we are going through a huge shift. There are some people that are choosing to stay stuck in that old way of being, and that's totally okay. That's just where their soul has made agreements to, and their soul is not done, and the cleanup crew in that dimension, that's totally okay. Thank you for your service. But there's a lot in the spiritual community that are being called up into that next level, and that next level is a huge simplification of everything that we've been doing. So Soul Series is going to help hold you in that. So Soul Series is a 6-week group immersion in which I am going to guide you home to yourself, to your true soul's essence, to your own God frequency, that unification with God. We're going to be dissolving out any of the beliefs and any of the energies and imprints in your energetic field that are not in alignment with that pure source energy, that purest frequency. And Soul Series is going to hold you in a safe cocoon as we do so. And then by the end of it, you're going to come out of that and you're going to be fully like anchored in your higher self, anchored in your God self. You are going to be at a totally next level with your work, and the frequency that you're emanating out, your energy is going to be like a diamond light frequency. People are going to feel you. You are no longer going to be lost in the static of the spiritual community, because it's freaking noisy as fuck out there. Like, you turn on social media, and if you're following a lot of spiritual people, it's like, it's very overstimulating for the nervous system. So Soul Series is really going to help you bring yourself back to yourself, return you home, And when you get to this other side, because it is like a dimension shift, it's basically shifting out of the 4th dimension into the 5th dimension in much higher frequencies. We're not stopping at 5D. We're going all the way up to 12D. When you shift into this dimension and anchor into it so that you're operating from these higher dimensions, you wake up feeling already connected. You feel completely aligned. You don't have to spend all this time meditating and doing all of these healing practices just to feel good. There's just no more of that. You're already good. You're already locked and loaded, ready to go. And that manifestation happens so much faster because you are in alignment with your soul. You are in alignment as an expression of God. So it's going to be super awesome. Spots are filling. We only have a few spots left. Tuesday is your last day to register. And yeah, I'll drop the link in the comments for you to check it out. I'm super excited about it. The group of women that have already signed up are, they are special gems. And we're just going to really draw out that, their essence, that pure expression of who they are so that they can really be felt in this world with the work that they're here to deliver. So I am sending you so much love. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. We have had such a beautiful, warm, sunny day here before we get a few days of rain. So I'm really relishing in it. And Lila wants to say hi. There's Lila. There she is. Having a great time. I love you guys. Have a great day.